Bruno Fernandes did, by the way, what's come out to be an interview a few weeks ago, where the video and everything's only come out today, where he basically said that he could have left in the summer and that he feels that he decided to stay, but that the club wanted to sell him. So I'm going to break down pretty much what he said. Wazipred said, nowadays, the issues of loyalty is no longer seen in the way it used to be. In fact, he's kind of saying that loyalty isn't rewarded how it used to be.
Yeah, that's fair.
At one point, I was going to leave. I won't say where, but I would have won many trophies that season. I decided to stay, not only for family reasons, because I genuinely like the club. The conversation with the coach also made me stay, but from the club side, I felt a bit of, if you go, it's not really that bad for us, which hurts me. More than hurting, it makes me sad, because I'm a player that they have nothing to criticise me for. I'm always available for every match. I always play, whether well or badly. I give my maximum. Then you look around and you see players who don't value the club as much as you do and who don't defend the club as much. That makes you sad. The club went through difficult times, and I could have done what many other players do and said, I want to leave the club. I don't want to train. I want to leave for 20 or 30 million, so they pay me more on the other side. And maybe I could have gone to a better club and earned more money, but I never did that. I never felt in the position to do so because I feel empathy and affection for the club I had. I thought the empathy and affection I had with the club was mutual. I think that empathy can exist, but there comes a point where money is more important than you. The club wanted me to leave. I have that in my head. I told the directors that, but I think they didn't have the courage to make that decision because the manager wanted me to stay. If I had said I wanted to leave, even with the manager wanting me to stay, they would have let me go. So, what's happening with this?
Called you, basically just said your boards are bottle jobs.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. And they are. What else is there to say?
Because what I find mad about this is that a couple months ago, this is what basically Man United's response has been, is that the Man United have gone over to a lot of like influential people around the club, the journalists and everything,
debrief them,
and they've told them, make sure you publish this quote from Bruno in October, where Bruno says, the club told me they wanted me to stay. So Bruno Fernandes in October, because I remember it was his first like big press conference following all the Saudi stuff. It was when he was with Portugal, and they were like, why didn't you go to Portugal? They were offering you 750 grand a week. And he basically went, I talked to the manager, I talked to the club, they wanted me to stay, they wanted me to be part of the project. And so I stayed because I felt it was the right decision for me and my family to stay. And then now he's coming out and he's basically going, nah, because this was filmed in the international break in November. This is what happened in November. So that was just after we beat Sunderland 2-0. Well, our own clean sheet the season. That was just before we went on this good run. And then Bruno Fernandes, Bruno Fernandes has basically come out and said the opposite.
Well, if you think about what he said there, I don't really think he said much of an opposite because Ruben Amorim still counts as part of the club. So if he's actually said, but in the recent comments that just come out, Ruben Amorim wanted me to stay. I had a chat with the manager, wanted me to stay.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of on par to what he just said then, to be honest. Like, Ruben Amorim's still part of the club. He's still an influential voice in terms of who he'd want in his team. And then as well, I think he mentions before about how he could have went to a club and won loads of trophies and been successful. Like that sounds like a big European club, not necessarily a Saudi or Qatari team, if I'm being honest.
Right.
Like, I actually believe him.
So, but do you believe him which time round? Because what he's effectively saying here is the club have been indifferent or ambivalent to him, despite the fact that he feels he's gone the extra mile for a number of years. Yeah. And
he has, though. Wouldn't you say he has? He has gone there.
He's been the only player that we've been able to rely on. Yeah. I see Bruno Fernandes. I don't know
a club
how you comments think or you guys think. I see him as a complete club legend.
Yeah, no, I actually agree.
Complete and utter
He's carried your team for years. Like, think about some of the awful players that he's played with and actually come out with and won things with. Like, he's won things with, like, Anthony, for example. That's an achievement in itself.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, Jamie Carragher, we know Jamie Carragher's not one to mix his words, is he?
Yeah.
He's not one to mix his words. And Jamie Carragher last night said if Bruno had a Premier League, he would be one of the all-time great Premier League midfielders. He said that last night. Do you agree with that, Ben?
I think that's a big if. Like, if Arsenal win the Champions League, then they've got European pedigree, but we haven't, so we're not. Like,
But what Carragher was saying was that Bruno Fernandes isn't being recognised because he's not got that trophy left.
But I think you have to win. Like, look at Arsenal the last few years. They've been great, but they haven't won anything. So that's what always gets thrown in your face. So if you don't have the accolades to back it up, then as fantastic as you've been, you don't get put in the same tier as the De Bruynes and the so and so's. Like, I don't think he's been a phenomenal player and he's always available, but there's that, and then there's backing it up with the trophies.
Yeah, so I'm trying to find.
I think it's a bit of a mix because on one hand, I actually agree with Jamie Carragher, right? But then what do you say about Steven Gerrard, who never didn't do that?
Well, no,
he's classified as, and I would, none of us are going to disagree.
Gerrard is one of the best.
Yeah, and no one would disagree that Steven Gerrard is one of the best midfielders this league's ever seen. But he actually just never won the biggest trophy, and it's the same way we'd say Harry Kane.
How many Champions Leagues did he win, though?
But we're talking about the league.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? The reality is he never won the bread and butter of the league.
Just clear up what Carragher said. He's like, you think of the goals and assists he's got, and if he had a few more trophies, if he won a Premier League or maybe a Champions League with Man United, we'd probably be talking about one of the greatest foreign players certainly to ever come to the Premier League. But because he hasn't got quite that, no one talks about it, but his numbers stack up as much as anybody's. I was doing some research into it, and I think he's got, in his entire time at Sporting and United, he's averaged 0.7 goal involvements a game across 460 games or something crazy like that.
I think Bruno's issue and why he maybe doesn't get the respect is almost like a PR perspective. Like, a lot of people think about Bruno and they think of him as and he's actually not really this, but they see him as a really whiny player, throws his toys out of the pram, like, do you know what I mean? Whereas, like, you think about, like, your Frank Lampards and your Stevie Gs, and they're seen as, like, these really charismatic, again, there's maybe a bit of English tax in there as well, but they're seen as these really charismatic, leaders. Do you know what I mean? Whereas Bruno's almost seen like, I feel like if you'd ask the average football fan and you ask them about Bruno, they would say he's talented, but they'd also be like, oh yeah, but he moans a lot and he's always complaining with the ref. I think that also is probably why he doesn't get the respect he deserves, because he's not seen as like, the personality is not there really, to most people anyways.
Yeah, but I'd also say, if we look at United in the last few years, he's the only player you can say we've relied on at all.
Yeah, of course.
He's the only good player. Look, yesterday, the free kick he scored was very, very good.
You guys just went band for band. He saw Bournemouth's free kick and he said, I'm doing one better. That's literally what I said.
That was such a beautiful free kick.
When they, I don't know, was it Senesi that did that little tackle, right? When I said that, me and my dad said that, I said, he's going to score that. That's Bruno Fernandes territory.
To move the chat back to Bruno a bit, because some of the chat is still talking about Bruno. I don't know how much you guys are aware of this, but there is a £56 million release clause in his contract that, so that can only be activated by non-English clubs. And I don't know the time frame, but there's within a certain window. I'm going to guess it's
Chelsea have the opportunity.
The standard one is it's like 40. That first 14 days of the transfer window is the standard one. So I'm going to assume first 2-3 weeks the transfer window, non-British clubs can sign him for £56 million. Do you think that's something United should be hoping that a team will actually activate, Ben? 56 million for someone who's turning 32 next season.
Well, how much? When's that come in? Because wasn't it 100 million to Saudi this summer?
Last summer it was the rumoured was they were willing to pay 80 to 100 million, and then they offered Bruno the contract, and then Bruno turned it down. So this feeds back into what Bruno was saying. Is Bruno in this interview has been saying that he feels the club low-key never told him, but kind of wanted him to go. Is what he's complaining about. He was like, the club were happy for me to leave in the same way they were happy Garnacho and Rashford to leave, even though I've been the one that's been pulling this club through the dregs for ages. But do you think that this summer, if it is £56 million, that should be something United should be looking to accept?
How long's he got left on his deal? That's
1.5 seasons.
So I think in terms of recouping your investment is certainly something that should be considered, because you don't want to end up like, say he runs down his deal and goes for free.
Don't want to be like Liverpool.
Then you've basically just, it's similar with the Trent thing. Obviously not the same in terms of growing up in Liverpool and stuff, but in terms of you're losing someone of that caliber for nothing. You don't want to end up doing that. And Arsenal notoriously were really bad at doing that. Still are quite bad at doing that. So, yeah, in terms of making the money back rather than letting him go for free, then I think that should certainly be something they're considering.
I don't want it to happen.
I don't want him to go.
I don't want it.
He's too important.
Would you rather lose him for free?
Huh?
Would you rather lose him for free?
I'd rather keep him until the day his legs falls off. To be perfectly honest.
But let's say he looks at it like, I've done loads for this club. I'm a club legend. Like, I'm ready to. Like, let's say he's carrying feelings as well from what the club kind of did last summer, where like they kind of wanted him to go, but maybe just didn't make it 100% clear to him. And he's probably looked at it like, right, I could go to another big club and, you know, win a lot and be in Champions League every season and, you know, finish my career on a high. I mean, what are you going to do?
Look,
I guess you have no choice but to sell him.
If it was my choice, if it was, okay, Dylan, do you want Bruno Fernandes to stay or go? I'm saying stay.
Yeah, stay, 100%.
I would click that button 100 out of 100 times. If Bruno Fernandes was to go, I want to leave, I'd be just very sad and go, okay, fine. I'm going to accept that because I want you to do what's best for you.
Would you, as a fan, be like, would you prefer you get that 60 million for him, or you just say, fine, wait out your contract and just stay for the last days? And just leave.
I want him to stay at Manchester United until the very, very, very end.
I agree.
I would give as long because I don't think that he's going to be slowing down anytime soon either.
No, I don't think so.
I reckon. Let's say he goes to.
He's getting better with age.
Anyway, yeah, he's one of the I've seen so many of our best players in the last 5-6 years be players who are 34, 35. Bro, Cavani when he was playing up top was fantastic.
Yeah.
Ibrahimovic, Ronaldo, all our best strikers, all our best attack.
Even Casemiro's first season for us.
Yeah.
Like recently, he's also been good. It's even the stat I saw the other day with Casemiro and in general, he scored 3 goals this season?
4.
3 in the Prem.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, for all 4 in the Prem.
All 4 in the Prem.
Yeah, because he didn't score against Grimsby.
Yeah. True.
Which is our only non-Prem game.
Very true, yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah, and also we are second now with corners scored.